want to lose my wife and my kids to something that I can't even reason with. I've spent my career uncovering the truth.
I felt something more real than anything I've ever felt in my life. I'm praying for you.
We all bet our lives on something. The question is, what's it going to be?
Welcome back to The World Over. That was a look at the new film from PureFlix Entertainment, The Case for Christ. Ever since Mel Gibson's The Passion of the Christ broke box office records in 2004, the market for Christian films has exploded. And my next guest is part of a company that has been responsible for many of the most successful Christian films in recent years. God's Not Dead 1 and 2, and they are the #1 faith and family online video streaming service. Has the Christian market gone mainstream, or is it still only a very specific niche in the overall media landscape? Here to tell us is Vice President of Global Strategic Alliances for PureFlix Entertainment, Franklin Santagate. Great to see you. Thanks
Great to be here
with us. I want to start with what PureFlix is. It is primarily a streaming service of what?
Well, it actually is a theatrical company. We produce movies.
Okay.
We also are a home entertainment business because we distribute DVDs and Blu-rays. But we also have a streaming platform, which is pureflix.com. So we're all three of those. And we're actually, as a company, 12 divisions, script to screen. So does that help a little bit?
It does help a little bit. Tell me, what is the motivation, then, for creating these films? And we have to be honest, many secular publications have reviewed your films and they say, well, these are pat movies. They have, they come to an end. You know where they're going to start and you know where they're going to end. You would say what to those critics, and who are you trying to reach?
Well, let's talk about passion first, and then we'll say about who we're trying to reach. The passion that we have is to influence the global culture for Christ through media. And these are the ways that we're doing that. And so with the theatricals, the DVDs, and the streaming, our passion is to create messages that we believe are pillars of light, truth, and hope in what I will call our ever-darkening culture, if you will. And as an example, God's Not Dead established the existence of God. That was the core takeaway. Do you believe the next film established the power of the cross to change a life for the better? Woodlawn, which came out in fall of 2016, actually, that showed the power of the gospel to heal racial prejudice in a real, true story. And now we have Case for Christ, and the core takeaway here in this incredible drama, in the middle of all that, is the evidence of the crucifixion, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, which is our linchpin for our faith, isn't it?
Now, this was based on Lee Strobel's book. Lee Strobel, a reporter, investigative reporter. He was at the Chicago Tribune for many years. In fact, at the time of this story, he becomes the legal correspondent.
Yes, he does.
How does this film reflect the book that's been around for, what, 20 years?
Long time.
And how does it deviate from it?
Well, the book, if you read it, it is an investigative dialogue, if you will, and documentary. And if we did the book, literally, it would have become a documentary. But Brian Bird, who's the writer, or the screenwriter, who did Touched by an Angel, Wind Calls the Heart, sat down with Lee and Leslie, his wife, and he found what he calls the gold, and that is the story. And so this becomes a great love story. It's the story of an agnostic and an atheist whose worldviews are great, and it just continues on into this wonderful dramatic presentation. So it is a movie that presents, in my opinion, the drama, but also the evidence of the crucifixion, death, and resurrection of Jesus.
Now, PureFlix has been criticized in the past by some in the Catholic community because they haven't included really any Catholic references or visuals. That is not the case in this film.
It is not. As a matter of fact, we have a character who is a retired archaeologist who has become a priest. And because of the history of the Catholic Church and its deep, deep roots in the origin of the Shroud of Turin, as an example, which is seen in the movie, Lee is investigating that. And so we see the Catholic Church, we see the Catholic priest, and of course the history of the documentation of that is presented in this film. So it's very powerfully done.
What do you hope will be the result of this? I mean, what are you trying to accomplish here? Are you looking for those outside of your faith to say, you know what, this is a really good film? Or do you have an evangelical end?
Well, we have, I think there's three parts to that answer, answering that question. Number one is that we want to see Christians who go to church on a regular basis, who are faithful, to better understand the linchpin of their faith, which is, again, the crucifixion, death, and resurrection of Jesus. Understand the history of it, understand the evidence for it, to be able to have that conversation. Secondly, we think that there are people that they know who are close to becoming a Christian or accepting faith, and we want them to be able to bring them to the movie and to be able to have the movie make that message and presentation to them in a way that they'll accept it without walls. And third, I think, is overall, we just want good entertainment for those people who are of faith.
Yeah. Tell me, I want to talk for a moment about the streaming platform,
Sure.
PureFlix, which is increasing and growing, the subscribers and the numbers of people. Who are the PureFlix viewers, and why are they coming to your service?
Well, the viewers are people of faith, families of faith, I think, first and foremost. And they are, and I emphasize family because the streaming platform is a faith and family platform. And so these are families who want a safe place, and I'll put the quotes around safe place, for their children to be able to view almost anything they want without having any danger of seeing something they shouldn't be seeing. Secondly, I think we see families who are not necessarily people of faith, but have a moral compass and have the same concern for their children.
And what's on the service? What are you offering people?
Well,
besides this original content that you're producing all the time?
Which is a very small part of it. We have purchased almost 6,000 plus titles now. We purchase content every day. We're always looking for great content. And we'll have our feature films, short films, documentaries, educational films, animation for the children. We also have episodics or TV series. We've had the old black and whites of Lassie and Little House on the Prairie, and it's amazing how those have become favorites, actually.
I'll bet.
And so we have just a broad, I think, selection of good viewing that the family can enjoy.
And what do you hope will come out when this movie is done, when people have seen it? And you've got, look, you've got Faye Dunaway, you've got Robert Forrester in this film, hardly slouches. What do you hope will be the reaction among the wider viewing audience?
I think, you know, my personal opinion, and I think those of some of us in the leadership, we hope that this film will have the wide appeal, because it is a love story. It's a marital conflict, it's a parental conflict, it's an investigative journey. There's an investigation of a police shooting. It has all the things that are culturally relevant, and it's authentic, it's sincere. Right. We had some millennial Catholics review the trailer, and they said, it just seems so real this time. And so we hope that people see the film and can relate to it and have a great presentation and message about faith. And we hope that with all our heart.
Excellent. Franklin, thank you for being here.
Glad to be
here. And we'll keep our eyes on the film.
Please.
And see what it does. The Case for Christ from PureFlix Entertainment opens in theaters nationwide on Friday, April 7th. And you can find out more about PureFlix streaming service at pureflix.com. And that is all the time we have for now. Until next week, the show continues on Facebook and Twitter. You can like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter. The links are at RaymondArroyo.com. Be sure to join us next week. Father Paul Scalia joins us to talk about his latest book, and we've got some other surprises. Until then, we'll be scouting the world over for all that is seen and unseen. On behalf of the staff and crew of EWTN News, thanks for watching. I'm Raymond Arroyo from Washington, D.C. Bye now.